No matter how dominant a player is on the field, it's rare to see a single player win a game, let alone drag a team to a premiership. History has shown even the best to ever play have fallen short when it comes to the ultimate team success. Here are a few players that came into the competition in the 2000s, dominating the AFL, but through luck, a bad team around them, or a poorly run club, cost them achieving a grand final win. Shout out to Nathan Garner for the video idea. We start at the top with St Kilda legend Nick Riewoldt. Now there were quite a few Saint players that could have been on this list, but for variety throughout the video, Riewoldt was the most significant and biggest contributor, so he in some ways represents all of those players who missed out, like Brendan Goddard, Lenny Hayes and Lee Montagna. He was picked 1 in the 2000 national draft and within 2 seasons had already established himself as one of the best young forwards. In 2002, his second year, he led the competition in marks per game at 8.1 while picking up 15 disposals and a goal per game. The upward trend would continue, and in 2004 he made his first All-Australian team, won his second best and fairest while winning the Lee Matthews Trophy for the AFL's most valuable player. The same year would also bring the first bit of heartache for Riewoldt. The Saints finished 3rd and made a prelim final, travelling to South Australia to face Port Adelaide.
Caught by a straight kick. And they are there.
A 6-point prelim final loss was only the start of a series of close finals losses. Riewoldt kicked 3 goals and did play outstanding. The following year, Sydney beat them in the same game, this time at the MCG, blowing them away late. 2008 led to the same outcome, as they were no match for the eventual premiers Hawthorn, but 2009 seemed like the true breakout year. The Saints went 20-2, Riewoldt was named to his 4th All-Australian team and averaged a career-high 3.3 goals per game and once again led the league in marks. At 26, he was in the heart of his prime, and in the prelim final against the Western Bulldogs, he was the one to seal the match. Individually, he would struggle the next week in the grand final. Without a great performance from the spearhead, the Saints were still 7 points up at 3/4 time. But in the last quarter, they managed just 3 single behinds. The tussle was broken apart by the Matthew Scarlett toe poke, and Harry Taylor's mark essentially ended the game. It's hard to come any closer than a 1-goal grand final loss.
It's going to be a draw. It's unbelievable.
Riewoldt overcame a hamstring injury in the 2010 season to play every game from round 15. The first of the 2 2010 grand finals saw him return 16 touches and a couple goals, but his part in the rematch game is remembered for all the wrong reasons. Back-to-back grand final losses with a draw somehow in the middle. From this point onwards, St Kilda mainly dwindled in the lower half of the ladder. Riewoldt was still phenomenal all the way until his mid-30s, leading the league in marks a further 2 times, while captaining the club from 2007 to 2016. 336 games, 718 goals is an outstanding career from a warrior who was desperately unlucky to not finish with a flag. He's still recognised as one of the best marks ever, an endurance machine and fantastic captain. Matthew Pavlich is up there with Nat Fyfe as Fremantle's greatest ever player. Unlike Riewoldt, his opportunities deep in finals were far less regular, and throughout his 17-season career, Fremantle were up and down as a club. Between 2000, his first season, and 2005, Freo made finals just one time, losing a home elimination final to Essendon in 2000. Pavlich was the glimmer of hope over this lean period of team success. In the 6-year span, he would become a 2-time Best and Fairest winner, lead the club goal kicking twice, and be named All-Australian 3 times. In 2002, he was even named as the All-Australian fullback at just 20. His versatility as a player is rarely seen even in today's game. Finally, his individual efforts were rewarded with a deep run in finals. In 2006, Fremantle finished third, and after a semi-final win, got to a preliminary final against Sydney. Pavlich kicked 4 goals, but the Dockers were behind all day and ended up losing by 35 points. It was the last significant finals appearance by them until 2013. By this time, Pavlich was now 31 and about to turn 32, and was the key target in Fremantle's forward line. He missed most of the year, needing to have surgery on his Achilles, but returned with some games leading into finals. It was their second year under Ross Lyon, with their defence the competition's best. They finished third, but had to travel to Geelong for a qualifying final. It is still one of the biggest upsets in finals history.
It's Fremantle's day. Walters is on. Hill keeps going. This to send them into a home preliminary final for the first time in their history. Freo are at home in the second last week of the season.
They held off the Swans at home to reach the grand final. It's just too bad they ran into Hawthorn. They lost by 15 points, but the game was over a while before the final siren. Pavlich kicked 3 goals, playing his role well. The following year they finished 4th, but went out in straight sets, and 2015 saw them top the ladder, but once again the Hawks were in their way, this time at the preliminary final stage. Pavlich finished up in 2016, and at the time was Fremantle's most accomplished and recognisable figure. 6 All-Australians and Best and Fairest joined 8 club-leading goal kicker awards. He captained Freo for 9 straight years as well, and literally did anything for the team. Being consistent, durable and versatile helped him reach 353 games and 700 goals. Not many players have a better highlight reel and clutch moments tape than Robbie Gray. He only retired a couple seasons ago, but his CV is still underrated. He was picked 55 in 2006 and did take some time to get going in the AFL, but when he took off, he never looked back. Port Adelaide didn't play finals until 2013, after Gray's first year in 2007, in which they were humiliated against Geelong in the grand final. Early in 2012, Gray needed a knee reconstruction after a horror hyperextension against Collingwood. It stopped momentum for him after a 32-goal season in 2011, but his return marked instant improvement for the Power. They lost in the semi-final against the Cats, but the trajectory was now upwards. Individually, 2014 was Gray's true breakout season. He averaged 25 disposals and 1.7 goals per game, claiming his first All-Australian, one of his 3 Best and Fairest in a row, while being named the Coach's Player of the Year. At 26, it had come together. The Power got on a hot streak, embarrassing Richmond at home, upsetting Fremantle away, and facing the Hawks in a prelim final. Down 28 points with 8 minutes left, the Power kicked 4 straight goals. They almost pulled off a miracle. Gray continued on his excellent play, being one of the best forward midfielders in the game. Between 2014 and 2017, he averaged no less than 21 disposals and 1.2 goals over the 4-year span. A few more years passed, and Gray began playing deeper inside 50. In 2020, Port Adelaide was first on the ladder at every round of the season, and it gave us an iconic Robbie Gray moment.
Siren will sound. The game is on his boot. He's the man in the arena. And all eyes are on Robbie Gray. And when everyone else missed, when the moment came, he
The Power hosted a preliminary final against the Tigers, and just like Hawthorn in 2014, they faced a side looking to go back to back. It was a coin flip game and the Tigers won by a kick. The next year, Gray averaged 17 disposals and a little over a goal a game, still being a critical factor in Port winning games against the Tigers in round 4 and then round 23 against the Bulldogs. But again, they fell flat at the prelim final stage, getting bounced without putting up much of a fight. It's a shame we didn't get to see Gray in a grand final. His 5 showdown medals, various game clinching goals, and ability to break matches apart would have made him a Norm Smith medal favourite. Still, his catalogue of big moments has him remembered by many as a Port Adelaide great, and his 271 games and 367 goals undersell his contribution to the Power's cause. There are a few players in the 2000s that were not able to hold up a premiership cup. If you have any more in this period of time, feel free to share them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.